Hey people, it's me again. So, anyways, as I was saying a couple times, as far as that, I don't really like doing video blogs back to back on the same day. As far as any complete ones. But although I was meaning to do this for a long time, to have a video blog as far as for anybody that hadn't really been on my old channels, as far as wanting to know how I got the boys, my cats, So, anyways, I have to kind of also explain as far as the pets that I had before that, as well as the current one. So, as far as the pets that we had in our family, we had old Tom, and there was Bob, and there was Tom too, and then there was Crispy, and then the boys. But all of them are all male cats, As far as with old Tom and Bob, I think the whole story is that old Tom, I think, was somebody else's cat that ran away and then went into our yard. And then we kind of basically took over and took care of that cat, And he ran away once, or I'm not really exactly sure the whole story was. He ran away one time when we were moving down here to Laguna Niguel from San Gabriel. And then the other time, I think it was, I forgot it. There was at least one time with him, and it might have been another time with Bob, But I think it was Bob was one that we found there at the same time, And the whole story was that Bob ran away when Corey was going to bring him to show and tell around the time. I forgot what grade he was in. I think he was probably like in kindergarten or maybe even first grade at that time, because I was still a baby. And then Mom was holding me and holding Bob, and Bob somehow slipped out, and then he was like lost for a couple of days, and then went back home after that. And I don't even remember if he kind of ran away while we were moving down here. But although I remember that as far as with old Tom, that he got out, and I think he got attacked by some other cats or somebody or some other animals, and that had bit his hind leg, and that leg got infected, and then he had to have his leg bandaged up. Although I could barely remember old Tom, and then somehow I think he got lost again, and I think we all assumed that he got eaten by the coyotes. I think, although he might have survived and got picked up by one of the neighbors, as if it was possible, I don't know. But then after that, the whole story with Tom 2, the second Tom. I don't know where he kind of came from. He might have came from one of the neighbors, and probably wandered off, and then he wandered into the backyard. And this was, I think I was probably might have been first grade or maybe even kindergarten. I mean, first grade or second grade. I'm sure it might have been first grade or maybe even second grade. And Tom was still a kitten because he still had his baby teeth, and he was always been this cute little cute little kitty cat, you know. And a lot of people who know me growing up had always seen my pictures of like showing him off as far as how cute Tom was at the time when I first got him. As far as Tom, you know, and I think it was like the whole case with Bob and Tom. I had them from most of their lives, and then Bob had like died in '98, and then Tom was by himself from all the way up until '06, I think. And then it was right around the time when I kind of came back about 5 years ago that Tom had diabetes, and then he was on life number 9, you know, and the whole thing with him kind of lasted for about almost a year as far as that goes when he had diabetes, and then I think he had like some sort of diabetic shock, and then I think it was we couldn't really afford to kind of keep him overnight as far as an observation at a pet hospital and all of that during that animal hospital thing that I was already showing you guys on another video blog near the animal hospital at the park. And that we had to put him to sleep. And so we spent the entire year of '07 grieving over him. And it was kind of one of the reasons why I think I had decided to leave the whole that whole Japanese class. It was not just because of the whole work I got too much, but it was just at the same time it was like it was just getting a little bit tedious with all the other stuff. I wanted to learn more things in Japanese, you know. But at the same time, it's just I just got sick and tired of like the workload as well. But then it was the whole stress of like losing Tom kind of really did that sort of thing in. So it was right around that time, around the end of '07 and the start of '08 was when we were ready to start having looking for like a new cats and all that. So if anybody that was around with my old YouTube channel, I did post like videos of being at the animal shelter in Irvine as far as seeing the two prospective cats that were there. You know, there were like these two girl cats. You know, the whole story was we almost got one of them, but they had this sort of strict no declawing policy, and that in the end I think we decided to screw it, you know, as far as that goes, as far as declawing them, you know. But although we went to the animal shelter in Mission Viejo, although I never, I think I probably might have mentioned it around the time, it was like the second year that I was there, during like the fall of 2000, I did work at the animal shelter for a while until I got sick of it, you know. And I just wanted to focus more on my studies rather than just working at the time. I think merely the entire problems that I could have stated so many times over and over on the whole thing with adult transition was merely that I just wanted to focus more on my studies and then having a job in the first place, you know. And that, not that I didn't like doing a job there, I just wasn't really ready to do that sort of thing just yet, you know. And I probably would have been a little bit more ready if they would have allowed me to study more often and then gain more than decide what I wanted to do, that sort of stuff, you know. So, I digress. So, anyways, that's so that whole time I'm thinking it was probably around May of '98 was when we went to that animal shelter And when we were asking if they had any other cats, or also there were a couple of like these like cats that were there, and I think we were almost gonna take this one girl cat that was like more of an Egyptian male or some sort of Abyssinian, but then I think someone else had got to it first, had got to her first, I figured. And then, not just that, but I think I just wanted to have kittens instead of just having somebody that was an adult cat, because I never really had kittens before, So, the only kittens that were available were the boys. And as you can see behind me, one of them is right standing in the doorway. There's like Simon or Garfield. So, as I was kind of saying before, that they were like the only kittens that were available from the animal shelter at that time, and then they were allowing us to take them home. Even though they were a little bit more lenient with the whole issue of declawing, The thing was, the year before, is that they had like these breeders that were at the pet store, and it was kind of like right around that time where we saw like these videos of like these little kittens and all that, at the time and during the summer of '07. And we were probably ready to have like kittens, but it was just that the breeders or whatever, the ones that kind of came over that day, I think, was making us jump through hoops as far as that goes. Having they had to talk to Dad, or they had to talk to Corey about that, is like as if they were adopting a child when it's just a kitten. But I think they were just taking the matter way too seriously, for that matter goes. And I think that was kind of like the case, the reason why we didn't consider these people at that one pet store, I think in El Toro, and at that time. And then there were a couple of like kittens there at the other animal shelter in San Clemente, but they weren't really ones that were there that we actually liked, There were a couple of them that were there, but then they had, as far as at that pet store there, that they had like maybe just one kitten that was available, but they didn't have like a pair of kittens, because there were two of them that were going to be adopted together, and then there was another one that I think was just that the mother and then the daughter were both adopted together, I think. But then they had other cats that were like together, that they were kind of a little bit older, but merely I just wanted like the kittens, So as I kind of said before, it was just that the only kittens that were available at that animal shelter were the boys, and so we actually took the boys home, and that was on I think it was May in '08, and it was a Saturday, because I remember that Mom was already home, and the time when I got them, they were about 6 weeks old. Yeah, they were about 6 weeks old, so now they're about like 3 years old by now. Even though at times that the boys, as far as the first month and a half, we had them pretty much stayed around the entire second floor, because we were having like the whole kitchen remodeled and all this sort of stuff, But anyways, as I was kind of seeing before, besides that, that that a lot of other stuff. Great, I'm kind of starting to lose my train of thoughts here. So as I was kind of seeing this to start to close all this sort of stuff, that I think I would say that everything was pretty good, except as far as Simon's frequently peeing all over the places and all that sort of stuff. And now all we just have to do is just keep him medicated as far as that goes. So, anyways, I guess that's probably it.